I just for years was just a shell of a person. But once I discovered that God gave hope, and it was so different than what I expected, I can't even speak of the joy. It's like undescribable. It was like, now I can live because I have hope. Hi, my name is Janae. I'm a former Mormon and a born-again Christian.
All sufficient merit, shining like the sun, a fortune lying inherit by no work I have done. It is done, it is finished, no more debt I owe, paid in full, all sufficient, there and now my
I was born in the covenant. I was a member from birth. I was an active member of the LDS Church for 18 years, and then on and off for a few more years after that.
Janae was always wrestling with the question, where do I fit in? And where do I place my hope for life and for eternity? This is the story of how Janae found true belonging and true hope in Christ alone.
So my family goes back in Mormonism to the 1800s, close to the beginnings. So both of my parents were raised in the Mormon church, and my dad especially, he went on a mission and did everything he was supposed to do, but he actually got married later in life to my mom at age 30. And my mom had been previously married outside of the church. And so when my parents got married, they couldn't get married in the temple. And so they ended up getting sealed in the temple when they were pregnant with me. And they're still temple-worthy church-going members.
Janae's dad was in the military, and she spent her early years outside the Mormon bubble. But then they relocated to eastern Idaho.
I moved a lot. So I was born in California, and we lived there until I was about 5. And then we moved to Pocatello, Idaho. And we lived in Pocatello for a little while in a rental. And that was the first time that I really felt a little bit out of place in Mormonism, because we didn't really have a place to live. I think we even lived with an aunt and uncle for a little while, which was very stressful. I remember a lot of yelling. So I think we just didn't fit in because we didn't have a lot of money. That was the first time in my life when I remember thinking that things were a little stressful at home and money was tight. The dynamic in the Mormon church, when you don't have money, well, to me anyways, it felt like you were an outsider. Like you didn't quite measure up to the holiness that you were supposed to. And so God didn't bless you as well. I even think that we were like on government assistance for a little while, and it felt shameful. And I don't know that anybody really shamed us in the church. It just was that, like the friends that I hung out with, and the way the teachers at church and primary would kind of treat us. It was like I wasn't as special as the other kids. So I always felt a little bit out of place by that.
But living in a rented home and receiving government assistance weren't the only things that made Janae feel like she didn't fit in. As a child, Janae constantly struggled with all of the spoken and unspoken ways perfection was expected in her family and in the church. The daily rules, requirements, and responsibilities were simply unbearable.
So we went to church every Sunday, and my dad always had his meetings on Sundays. So it felt like Sundays were always a long, dreary day because, dad's at his meetings and mom sometimes had meetings and mom played the organ. So sometimes we were sitting by ourselves. And the pressure to be a perfect, reverent child in church was always pretty intense, that we had to be perfect and still. You have this expectation that you're supposed to be perfect. My mom expected us to behave better and that she would get frustrated with us a lot. We had to be on our best behavior, and there was this standard of perfectionism. You're taught from a very young age to be reverent, to fold your arms, to be quiet when adults are speaking. Even at home with chores and things, there was a higher level of perfection.